Hi, do you like ribbon? Guess what? So do I. And today on Asia O'Hara Home, we are discussing all things ribbon, and I'm going to give you some essential tips for ribboning and bow making to take your holiday decor to the next level. So let's get started. Before we get started, I'm gonna show you just a couple of my favorite ribbons from my collection, some we'll be using today. I use ribbons in 3 sizes, basically, 4-inch, 2.5-inch, and 1-inch. And those sizes just actually work really well together proportion-wise. So this is a beautiful red velvet with a gold metallic embroidered center. It also is backed in gold lame. This is from Decorator's Warehouse, which is one of my favorites. It also comes in a gorgeous blue velvet. This beauty is by Silk. It's a beautiful metallic plaid. It's backed in a gold lame. And backed ribbons really are great when you're making large bows because it just adds another layer of beauty to your project. So they're always a good way to go. I have this green Dupioni with this red velvet center. This is also from Decorator's Warehouse. I don't use a lot of burlaps. It's not my vibe, but I think we're gonna try it today just to demonstrate. This 4-inch, it has a pattern. It's like a little bit of holly and bells and a ribbon. These patterns are much different than these geometric patterns. These are very easy to use and they blend very well. When you have a pattern like this, you have to be careful. I don't often use these on trees. I do use them for other projects and on wreaths, but they look wonderful up close, but from afar, they can start to look a little strange. This is just a nice, basic, soft, non-yellow gold glitter. And all of these ribbons are wired, by the way, meaning they have wire in the edge. They're very easy to work with, and you pretty much only want to use ribbons that have wire for the most part. Oh, also in 4-inch, I have this beautiful eggshell and gold glitter check, which is stunning. 2.5-inch, we have this nice polka dot. It's a 2 greens and red on a white with a red metallic border. Gold kind of open net weave. These are beautiful, especially on trees with warm white lights, because the light really does cascade through and it's nice, really on green trees as well. We have this orange striped faux suede, I believe this is. We've got a beautiful wine colored 2.5-inch with a gold glitter kind of leaf pattern brocade. What else do we have? This particular ribbon I've used, I think maybe 4 years in a row. It's a steel gray kind of silverish sateen, and it's got this open pattern in the middle. Just like the other open pattern, these are nice because it really lets the light shine through and cascade kind of and reflect off of all of those little open spaces, and it's actually really romantic looking, if you will. Okay, 1 inches, we've got this pattern guy here. This is like a eggplant and mauve and marigold check. And I've got this blue 1-inch lame. Now this particular ribbon is not wired. It's a faux suede on a grosgrain back, but it does have enough body in it that it can hold its shape when you're making bows. So it's rare that I use these, but they can be used. So I think that's the ribbons that we have to show today. So let's just jump in and get started. Okay, so for starters, I obviously always like to start with my widest ribbon first. These are off the roll. They're already cut because I used them last year. At the end of the season, I'll show you how to save your ribbon for the next year so you don't have to toss it. And I'm gonna start by making just a simple loop. And the way I do this is I take my ribbon and I make just 1 loop like so, and then I'm gonna pinch it right there in the center. So you've got your loop there and you've got a tail here, okay? Just like that. Now, this back piece of ribbon, the longer piece, now, if you're working off the roll, this is the piece that would still be on the roll, still connected to the roll. So we will take this back piece and we're going to twist it so that the pretty side of the ribbon is now back towards the front, okay? So that, if you wanted to start with a 1-loop bow, that's how you would start it. I'm going to take just a little piece of floral wire here and I'm going to wrap this right around the center of that, give that a nice twist so it's nice and tight. And that is 1 loop of a bow. Now you can take this and affix it to your wreath or your tree or whatnot, you're just gonna take this piece of floral wire and wrap it just once around one of the branches and make sure that that loop is going and that your tail is here. And then if you were going down your tree or going through your wreath, you would take this portion here and you would make another loop, and you wanna make sure that there's tons of space here. You don't want it tight. You want it to be leaping out of your work. So another loop there, and then you're gonna just take one of the branches of your tree or your wreath, and you're just gonna secure that down deep into the heart, and you would continue this process down throughout. Now, when you do each loop, you don't want this space here to be open. You want this to be closed. So when you do your next loop, you wanna make sure that you have enough slack that these meet, okay? You want it to be leaping out and not pulled tight. So we'll take that here. And there we have it. Now this piece is too short to be a tail, so I would normally just tuck that back. But normally if you're working off of a spool of ribbon, you would just continue. And then once you're done, you would cut it at an angle and go. So that's an example of just starting to ribbon with just one loop. Now, if you want to do a double or a triple, which I normally start with, especially at the top of a tree or at the top of a wreath, it's the same concept, but we're going to do multiple loops before attaching it to the tree or the wreath. Same thing, get yourself about, I don't know, about 18 inches or so there and make yourself a loop. Now, you're going to take this and make another loop going up. Once you get here to the top, so now you've got two loops. You can kind of pull them together if you want to make sure they're the same size. I normally don't, but now you've got two loops, okay? Now here, you're going to twist this ribbon back around to the front. You can turn your bow over if it's easier for you. Same concept, basically just a loop and then pinch it and then twist it back to the front. So now you've got two loops and a tail, and now here you're gonna twist this to the front and do another loop. Pinch that into the center and then twist back to the front. So now that's 3 loops. We will take a piece of wire, any size wire, any gauge of wire that feels nice to you. I kind of just use whatever's on hand. And we're gonna twist that nice and tight. Now, same thing, we're gonna take that piece of wire and wrap that around one of the branches, adjust our loops, and then from here, same concept. Make yourself a loop, take a branch, secure that down, make sure she's nice and open, make yourself another loop, attach that with a branch, and then here you would either cut your tail or continue whatever you need for that space. So that's a triple. So you can do 1 loop, 2 loops, or 3 loops. 3 is normally the most that I like to do because it's the easiest to control. Now we're gonna go in with, I have this 2.5 inch red and green polka dot on white, and this is on the spool, so you will see firsthand. I just drop it onto the floor and let it live its life. We're gonna cut that at an angle. I need different scissors for this. And we're gonna make another triple loop, and we're gonna put that right in the center. Now we're gonna take our little tail of the wire, pop her right into the center. There we are. We'll put this little tail over here. And then from here, this would just, same concept, just loops, tucking in. Just start yourself a loop, take a branch, secure it down. Make sure you've got plenty of space, plenty of slack. And then here, I'll just demonstrate. If that would be the end for you, you'd give it a cut. You can cut a dovetail, cut it at an angle. I like angles mostly. So we're gonna take this 1 inch, and I love the 1 inchers because they're so easy to manipulate and easy to do. So there's our tail. We're gonna again start in the heart of the bow that we've already started, and then we'll start to incorporate the tail, and we'll go up this way. So that's just a basic concept of how to ribbon and make bows. And with those simple concepts, making 1 loop, 2 loops, or 3 loops, placing them where you want, stacking them in different orders and different fashions. You can do basically anything. We have this lovely champagne tinsel tree we're gonna use. So we're gonna start with this for our 4-incher, and we're gonna basically start at the top of this. And this ribbon, all Fair Silk ribbons are very hardy. They have a lot of body, so they're very easy to work with once you get the hang of it. So we're gonna start with the tail. We've already got that cut at an angle. We're gonna make our first loop. Look how pretty that loop is already. Pinch her in the center. Give this a twist to the front. And I think we're gonna do a double. So make our next loop, pinch that into the center, turn her over, twist that to the front so our pretty side is back to the front. Just like so. Then we'll wire her together in the center with a piece of floral wire. And we'll start right here at the tippy top. Find ourselves a branch to wrap around. And we've got the beginnings of a bow. Make our next loop, and we're gonna take a branch, and you want this to be deep into the soul of the tree, not out on the edge of the branch, but deep within. And another loop, and make sure again that you have plenty of slack and plenty of space. So that's the beginnings of a bow and ribboning down the tree. Normally this tail would be too long, but I don't want to cut this, so I'm just gonna leave it just like that. Just loops and tails and tucking into the tree and leaping out of the tree. Now our same blue 1-inch lame, we're gonna do a triple as well. Now we're gonna put this one right in the smack dab center of our first 2 ribbons. And very simple, like that, that's the beginnings of your ribboning. This looks crazy, so let me fix that for you guys. Okay, lastly, we have this cute little burlap. It's a natural colored burlap with a red embroidered trim. Tossing that roll on the ground, and I'm gonna dovetail the end of this so it looks a little more whimsical. And we're just gonna do a big obnoxious bow at the top of this wreath. I'm gonna do 3 loops. So there is my first loop with the tail. Our final loop. Wiring her together. And we're going right into the top, of course. And there's the start of our bow. Next, I'm gonna do one more of these guys, but this time just 2 loops. There we go. Give this a dove. We're gonna start with a triple. And going right into the center here. And then lastly, this green velvet, also a 2.5 inch. And there you have it. Perfection. Thanks guys so much for decorating with me today. I hope you have enjoyed your time with me. And if there's anything else you want to know, if there's any details you need, let me know in the comments below and I'll make sure to get that to you. And make sure you like and subscribe because we have a lot of more holiday decor to do. So until next time, bye.